The switch has been flipped. Not the switch you've been waiting for, not the one that lights up a screen with a new exchange rate, but the one that powers an entirely new financial system. While the world was watching the same old headlines, while the gurus were recycling the same old predictions, Iraq quietly, methodically, and irreversibly activated the infrastructure of a modern economy. And nobody is telling you what it actually means. Let me take you inside the switch. On February 9th, in Erbil, something happened that should have been global news. Central Bank Governor Alaq stood beside Prime Minister Masrar Barzani and officially launched ePsûle, a unified electronic payment platform for the Kurdistan region. This is not just another government website. This is the death of cash dependency. This is the birth of transparency. Alaq was remarkably candid about why this matters. He said, "Everyone now understands that handling transactions with cash alongside complex economic demands is no longer sustainable. Establishing a secure and transparent electronic financial system is essential to restoring citizens' confidence in the banking sector. Confidence, that is what the switch is all about. For years, the parallel market thrived because the formal system was untrustworthy. For years, the 80% of currency outside banks stayed hidden because the shadow economy had no reason to come into the light. That just changed. ePsûle allows citizens to pay government bills instantly through mobile applications, digital wallets, and partner banks. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with no additional fees. For decades, government payments meant physical cash, long queues, and opaque transactions. Now they mean transparency, efficiency, and records. Alaq emphasized that the Prime Minister personally supervises these reforms, monitors their progress, and ensures they move in the right direction. This is not bureaucratic inertia. This is leadership at the highest level. After the launch, Barzani and Alaq met with representatives of Iraqi and Kurdistan Region banks to discuss the next phase, the MyAccount project and the expansion of digital financial services. Barzani expressed his appreciation for the central bank's ongoing reforms aimed at strengthening Iraq's financial system. The switch is not just digital, it is structural. On February 13th, Prime Minister Sudani spoke by phone with Turkish President Erdogan. They discussed the Development Road project, the strategic corridor connecting Iraq's Al-Faw Grand Port to Turkey and onward to European markets. This is not a road. This is Iraq's transformation from a nation defined by conflict to a nation defined by commerce. The operational plan for the development road is advancing rapidly. Engineering designs for rail have reached 88% completion, and road designs stand at 76%. This is not a dream. This is construction. On February 15th, the central bank issued a directive that quietly eliminated one of the parallel market's favorite excuses. They announced that applicable laws do not recognize any discrimination between different editions of the US dollar. Banks must stop treating old bills as less valuable than new ones. Why does this matter? Because parallel market operators have long used the excuse that they need to charge more for old dollar bills to justify their higher rates. That excuse is now illegal. The central bank stated this is in a way that contributes to ensuring the safety of monetary transactions and market stability. The switch is also about cybersecurity. On February 9th, Saihan Bank announced a strategic partnership with CTM 360 to strengthen its digital risk protection. They will monitor for phishing attacks, impersonation attempts, and data leaks across the surface, deep, and dark web. This is the infrastructure of trust. You cannot have a digital economy without digital security. The Iraqi Private Banks League is also advancing. At a forum on leadership and digital transformation, Advisor Samir Al-Nusayri emphasized the critical role of banking leadership in executing institutional plans. He stressed the importance of adhering to ESG standards issued by the central bank and embedding governance principles within bank boards. Digital transformation indicators were reviewed. comparing data from 2022 to results as of June 2025. Progress is measurable. Progress is real. On February 14th, President Rashid ratified a record $152 billion budget, covering 2024, 2025, and 2026. The budget consolidates Baghdad's authority over the oil sector and allocates 12.6% of revenue to the Kurdistan region. The Kurdish government can sell its own oil, but must deposit revenue in a monitored bank account. This is the end of the old disputes. This is the framework for fiscal stability. Economist Abdulsalam Hassan called the budget a ticking time bomb due to high expenditures. The IMF warned against fiscal loosening and heavy reliance on oil revenues. These are legitimate concerns, but they miss the point. The budget is not the end. It is the beginning. It provides the resources for the infrastructure that the switch is powering. The cashless mandate is advancing. The central bank has announced that all government payments will move to electronic channels by July 2026. Baha Abdul Hadi, chairman of International Smart Card, which owns Chi Card, says, "The ambitions are always there, but the real need is to focus on a well-crafted and a world-class plan and the execution of it." Execution. That is the switch. He notes that the central bank's cashless mandate, point-of-sale incentives, and know your customer regulations are all in place. What matters now is astute follow-through at the ministry level so that the Iraqi people actually reap the fruits of the mandate. Chi Card now claims more than 11 million users and 23,000 point-of-sale terminals across Iraq. Just 5 years ago, most Iraqis got to know us at a card terminal, Abdul Hadi says. Today, 6 out of 10 Chi payments start from a personal smartphone wallet or with a QR tap. The switch is behavioral. It is cultural. It is millions of Iraqis choosing digital over cash. Abdul Hadi is optimistic about the future. Within the next 5 years, you will see a tipping point where digital solutions bridge the cash gap in urban Iraq. He predicts cash could fall below 50% of urban retail spending by 2030 if the current momentum continues. A fully digital ecosystem in Iraq is therefore not a distant goal, it's the trajectory we are actively pursuing. On February 13th, the Minister of Finance met with a World Bank delegation to discuss economic reforms. They focused on improving the investment environment, strengthening partnerships with international institutions, and activating the role of the private sector. Key priorities include boosting non-oil revenues through automation of tax and customs systems, enhancing public treasury resources, and achieving long-term financial stability. The minister emphasized the importance of empowering the private sector as a strategic objective and reducing reliance on imports. The switch is comprehensive. It is digital, structural, fiscal, and behavioral. Now, let me give you the context that makes all of this meaningful. On February 10th, Governor Alaq gave his definitive interview. He revealed that foreign reserves exceed $100 billion, gold reserves exceed 76 tons, and more than 80% of the 100 trillion dinar money supply exists outside the banking system. He explained that bringing this 80% into the formal economy requires reassurance through fair and transparent systems. The switch is the mechanism of reassurance. ePsûle reassures citizens that digital payments are safe. Cybersecurity reassures banks that their systems are protected. The development road reassures investors that Iraq is open for business. The budget reassures the regions that revenue sharing is fair. The World Bank partnership reassures the international community that reforms are genuine. Alaq said, if money owners feel reassured about the existence of a fair and transparent tax system, they will bring their money and deposit it in banks. The switch is building that system. Nobody is telling you this because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't feed the speculation cycle. It doesn't give you a date for evaluation. But it matters more than any date ever could. The switch has been flipped. The infrastructure is live. The digital platforms are operational. The cybersecurity is advancing. The development road is under construction. The budget is ratified. The reforms are real. What happens next is the flow. When reassurance takes hold, the 80% will begin to move. When 80% moves, deposits expand. When deposits expand, lending grows. When lending grows, the economy diversifies. When the economy diversifies, the currency strengthens. The switch has been flipped. The question is whether you're paying attention to what it's actually powering.